Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the first ever cast from Kibbles in Age of Empires 4. I used to cast a lot of StarCraft 2, and today we're going to be casting a game from Age of Empires. I have no idea what game we're going to cast. I haven't picked a game yet, but I have picked a player. It's a good friend of mine. His name's Anton. And I have never casted any of Anton's games, but today we're going to try it out. As you can see, he plays a lot of two-player games, or four-player games, I should say. We were playing a bunch the other night, and he played far too many after I went to bed, it looks like. Some wins, some losses. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to go to the top where it makes no noise. We're going to come down. I'm going to wiggle it around a little, and then we're going to double-click one of these. Okay. Cool. I really don't... Okay, I'm not looking. Hold on. I'm going to cover most of this. I'm going to start with the top of the UI. I think it's near the top right is the replay button. Yes, cool. View replay. Awesome, it loaded, and I have no idea what the result of this game is going to be. So this is cool. I'm excited. All right. So we're going to check out this game between Ottomans and Golden Horde. It does not... the map is high view. All right, so what I know about this map, not too much. There's some secret... I would compare it, I think, to Lipany. Maybe with a little bit of cliffside in there. But honestly, the map is not a standout. You know, it's not hideout or stealth woods or anything like that. I completely picked the wrong game to watch. What? Oh, that's amazing. That's terrible. Okay, I mean, I'm so sorry to waste your time, but maybe you got a kick out of that too. Let's get out of here. I think, how can I cover? All right, so we're gonna look at my match history real quick. We're gonna take a look. We're gonna see where this is a riot. Okay, so I can see where the results are. So I'm covering where the results are, and that way we'll pick something. So close is in the bottom. Okay, so when I click that, I'm gonna have to cover results. So we're gonna go find him again. Offline Freds. Oh my goodness, that was such a riot. I don't know which game I picked, but I know it was on high view. So cool. I'm covering the results, but I can look at the map. So we're gonna make sure we don't pick one on high view. I don't see any maps on high view. Oh, it would have been maybe mega random? Oh, this is the wrong account. This is why. This is a very old account of his. I'd be curious actually to look at some of his old games and see. Well, let's go into match history again. There we go. So there's two maps that are high view. I'm not going to pick that. I remember the top one's a defeat, so we're not going to look at that. These, I don't know. So we'll go with Cliffside. We were just talking about Cliffside, so let's take a look. Okay, I'm not looking at anything except that replay button. Great. Okay. Now we'll get to see what happened here. Okay, hopefully this is not a 10-second game like the other one. What a waste of 2 minutes of your life. Alright, welcome to the game. We're going to go to caster mode. And in the top right-hand corner of the map, he's Ottoman. He's a turtle who likes to play for map control. His name is Anton. My wife's asking him if I'm okay. Yeah, I'm good, baby. Yeah, it's because I'm casting a game. Fiance, technically. Depends what state you're in. And in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, his opponent. ...
Faked.
He is, I believe, French. Yep, in the top right. I'm not very used to this UI, so maybe forthright about that. I'll do my best to parse some valuable intel for you. And I also don't have the best hotkeys in the world. So we're gonna say view next player. I want to toggle fog of war. All right, we're gonna be using. I'm gonna have to use more mouse clicks than I would like to admit this game, but it's gonna be what it is. Scout heads straight to the top right for. I'm gonna call this guy 3D because I don't like ... That's gonna be a mouthful. But he opens with a pretty standard opening. 2 on gold, rest on food, building his house. Sets 2 to house because he maybe he's gonna supply block himself here. Yeah, we can see 10. No, he didn't need to do that. He still had plenty of time. So that was, you know, little things that you wouldn't see pros do. If we go take a look at Anton, he's just made his first cheap drop. He's heading back to the top of the map, and his build. Well, let's see. He hasn't gathered any stone. Now I was talking to Anton about the kinds of builds that he likes to do, and one of the things that he called out is against French. He specifically likes to open with a very fast spearman. And so it's really interesting here that Anton didn't opt to do that because that is his preferred opening as Ottoman against French. I don't know if he didn't see that it was French. I don't know if he was very tired. I don't know if he wins or loses this match. But I do know that this is not generally the opening that Anton likes to go with against French. Now I can't tell you whether it's meta for Ottoman. Don't have that kind of in-depth game knowledge. You know, like I said, StarCraft caster. But yeah, we'll find more out as we go through this match. Let's go take a check in here and see what our French players do. We're getting close to the point where he would age. He has pivoted a third to gold, so maybe he was feeling like that. No, I mean, his distribution is not too far off here. It's 240. He's a little shy on food, and you see no villagers queued up. Is he going to cut villagers here to get that age in a little quicker? It seems he's thinking about it. Maybe he's not very happy with his queue time. Maybe he wants to go for a quick wheel. Well, he doesn't have a mill, so not a quick wheelbarrow. But he's definitely going for the age, so we'll check back in once he throws down what is very likely going to be a school of cavalry. As Anton's scout heads over to hopefully get an initial read on what his opponent's up to. Because we are well into this match now, and he hasn't seen any intel. Now it does appear that we're seeing a Chamber of Commerce out of 3D, which is a bit unexpected. Especially on a map like Cliffside, where it's really easy to get center control, and then these side lanes, you can just so easily pose a threat to your opponent, but he can't see up these cliffs. I could be mistaken, but I do feel like if it's not no vision up the cliffs, it feels to me like there's some reduced vision. But to be honest, I don't have the game knowledge, so I'll move on from talking about that. I will pay special attention during this game, though, to see if I spot anything along those lines. Because it's felt to me like Cliffside, my opponents have a really strong ability to hit from the side angles without me being aware of it. In some ways on Cliffside, I feel more under threat than I would on a map like Dry Arabia. A little unique about that map, because Dry Arabia, you feel so vulnerable to horse aggro. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out. 5 more sheep here for 3D. If we hop over and take a look at Anton, you'll see he's got down his twin Minaret Madrasa. This is a landmark that creates 4 berries on the edge of it, and those berries do mine, or harvest, I should say, 50% faster, and they regrow. So it's a really great way to kind of, it's a fantastic landmark for turtling up, and it just creates, I shouldn't say it's a fantastic landmark for turtling, though it is, but honestly it just gives such turtle power to the Ottomans, so they can prep and go beat Shredder before they all go home and have a pizza afterwards. Now I'm hungry, so thanks for that analogy, Andrew. Still no scout here from Anton, and this is where we get to start to talk a little bit about the gameplay and the decisions the players are making. Because the early game openings, there was a little to highlight about the Ottomans not going for that early stone or early military school, but otherwise, Anton still hasn't scouted his opponent, and this is, well, let's make sure that that's the case. I mean, he ran through here. Based on what I see, he didn't see this, but I feel like with the timing of it, perhaps he did, because the UI doesn't show anything, right? Like, well, he didn't actually. I'm curious if this is a UI issue in the minimap with the game, or if Anton truly didn't scout this Chamber of Commerce here. And we could see he ran over the gold mine, so it appears that it's a UI issue in the game. So we're gonna say he most likely scouted that. Now he throws down this tower. This is definitely a waste of resources. At this early in the game, his opponent doesn't have a single military building, and so this is just a bit of an oversight on Anton's part to spend money on a tower that could have been allocated to other things like upgrades, etc. Could have pulled some villagers off of wood and gathered other resources instead. But he's going to go ahead and throw down a stable now. Now, one of the other things I don't love is, with this Minaret Madrasa, the berry bushes regrow, right, as you consume them. And so we want to make sure these. One of the things we'll have to look into with this building is, does each berry bush after it's consumed regrow, or does the wonder regenerate one at a time? Either way, not all the berry bushes are now spawned, and so if this one, because this one is not depleted, it's very likely that it's not going to trigger to come back. So you want to see these more aggressively being depleted, I guess, is the TLDR. And we can look into the mechanics of exactly how the respawn mechanic works on these berries at a later time. First military school's finally going down for Anton here. and he's got 2 on stone, so it looks like he's shaping up to drop his second here. He's going to need another 70 stone to pull that in. He's actually got a little extra, so he's only going to need another 20 to throw that down. Scout comes by, scouts the Chamber of Commerce, and if we toggle on, toggle off, we see that it disappears. So we got confirmation that that is a UI issue that we were talking about earlier. Well, it's more than a UI, right? Because if we toggle it, it completely goes away for him. So I wonder if there's a fix for that. Maybe I have an outdated version or something. It's a little surprising to see for a game that has not the most robust esports scene, but a bit of an esports scene. Looks like he's completed the tree chopper upgrade. That's a bit of a mouthful, but he has skipped over wheelbarrow. If we take a look, he's pulling 500 gold, 700 food. Looks like he's going to be going for fast castle, and if he's not, this is a major oversight on his part. Some idle villagers here. We're going to see these get addressed here. And we'll go take a look over at 3D and see what he's up to. 3D, still no military. Still no military. He's going to be bringing home some scouts. In terms of upgrades, he's got his wheelbarrow. He's got his +1 wood. Wow, big economy here. He's got +1 gold. Huge economy here for 3D. How many villagers are we sitting on for this player right now? Is there an easy way for me to check? Not that I'm seeing. I just see 33 supply, 5 top center. Yeah, I should know this. I've watched this in esports. 32 villagers for 3D to 28 for the Ottomans. Now that's expected when you're French, but what I want to highlight is his economy's on par. He's got 5 traders on top of it, and he's completed every single Age 1 economic upgrade except for horticulture, which he's working on right now, and he's on his way to castle. Now let's go take a look at Anton and the state of the game. So Anton's trotting out his first Sipahi right now. He hasn't started wheelbarrow. He hasn't started horticulture. He hasn't started specialized pick. And he hasn't started double broad axe. He's got just 1 economic upgrade. And so that's a 15% nerf, essentially. Let's see, his pick also. So that's a 15% nerf to his economy versus his French opponent right now. That's pretty rough, but he's going to have an opportunity to equalize the game some. With this Sipahi, we can see he's got 2 out now, and more on the way, and he's also got the Spearman. Now, I was talking with Anton yesterday about his preferred playstyle. One of the things that he really likes to do is feel safe, especially against French. Feel safe, kind of, exert himself onto the map, especially if he detects that his opponent is economically ahead. Try to pen them in and not let their villagers get out and get damage in. And that's something I would love to see from him right now with those Sipahi, because his opponent's doing, if we look at how much gold per minute his opponent's bringing in, he's bringing in 340. We can see these traders are a meaningful portion of that, with each of these walking home about 30 each time they hit the trading post. And so I think we'd expect this income to fall by about 150 to 200 a minute if he leverages the Sipahi. And let's see if he's going to get out there and do that in a second, because it's about time. Now he's including a Spearman in the group. That is going to lower the movement speed of this little contingency. So you'd prefer to drop the Spearman, leave it at home, maybe go chase that scout around with the Spearman, so that those Sipahi can move a lot quicker. Now, does 3D have any idea this is coming? No, he seems not to. He's got a couple. He's got 3 idle traders. Needs to fix that. He gets them back on task. Now he did see with his scout. He did see those Sipahi leave. But as to whether or not he's going to react to it, I don't know. These villagers, super vulnerable though, and Anton's going to find these with his Sipahi. He's going to walk in right now. Does 3D react to it? 3D doesn't react to it, but neither does Anton. He strolls right by the villagers. Gonna guess that he didn't manage to catch that, as he was probably at home looking at maybe building some walls to make sure that his opponent can't run into his base with these archers that he's got. We are going to see barracks go down here for 3D, and I'm waiting to see where these Sipahi are going to be put to use for Anton. He invested a lot of his money instead of going into those eco upgrades. Still no wheelbarrow, no broad axe, no specialized picks, so no eco upgrades for Anton. He's going to start attacking this Chamber of Commerce now. So he did see this go down in the early game. He's thinking, I'm going to go hit this thing to kill the traders, because they're going to have to come walk back to him. So he's going to pick off 1 villager here, which is nice. But he's now down 5 villagers, which is okay versus French. You do get free units as Ottoman. But what's more concerning to me is a second farm upgrade here for the French players. Another villager goes down. All the tier 2 upgrades for Age 2 on economy are now complete for the French player. And this is where things can start to get a little out of hand for Anton. He's going to need either at this point. There's really two things you can do. He's going to work towards fast castle. I was expecting this earlier based on the amount of gold that we saw him gather. But it looks like most of that gold went into He's going to try to get some more harassing. Hold on that thought. And try to pick off a few more villagers now. Anything he can get here is honestly huge. He gets another villager, which, you know, if you look at the count right now, that's a solid 4% of the economy of our French player, even just one villager right now. I don't know if my math is right there. You know, 10% would be 4. Yeah, it's 2.25% is every villager. 2.5%. So 3 more Sipahi come to join the fray now, and I love this because he's going to get 2 angles of attack. 3D should see it coming. What I don't love is Anton did scout these facilities, and now, great, he's going to come hit these, and this is going to be some heavy damage for 3D. Is he going to be able to react? You know, his army is on the opposite side of his base right now, nowhere near where it needs to be. You know, he's still defending against these Sipahi, and now Anton coming in. He's going to, well, he strikes the mining camp instead of the villagers. There we go. He gets on the villagers. And 3D's going to try to react by building an outpost? There is no chance in hell that this works. And the early game advantage that 3D had secured himself for the economy is just rapidly vanishing. As Anton comes in on the bottom and is now hitting the wood villagers as well. He's going to take out every single villager that's building at this tower. Going to kill the spearman as well. Knight shows up, but every single villager just went down. That was 8, 9, maybe even 10 villagers. As more villagers die, this dual-pronged attack out of Anton just absolutely devastating his opponent right now. And whatever advantage that 3D had a few minutes ago, it might as well be the prehistoric age. It's so far gone. Not only does he not remember it, but he couldn't dig far enough to find himself a way out of this hole. Villagers loading into the tower here as 3D comes looking for some kind of retaliatory damage, but there's going to be nothing here. Anton's got towers. He planned for that night harass in the early game, and it's paying dividends at this point. Fantastic harass out of Anton, picking his opponent apart. Too much greed out of the French player 3D as he racks up 9 traders and 29. I mean, he was closer to 45 villagers before that attack took place. And at this point, he's going to be fighting to find his way back into this. Now, you know, it does look brutal when you lose that many villagers, but in reality, with this many traders, 3D not out. I would say a little behind because our Ottoman player still has virtually no economic upgrades. And so you're seeing a roughly 25% boost to the eco here, which puts us at the equivalent of 40 villagers from our French player, as Anton comes in for a little more harass. What's going to be really important for our French player here, 3D, is that he needs to hold off any future aggression. You know, he threw away his army, trying to get in immediate damage. And what he needed to recognize was, I'm okay. You know, I still have 10 traders. I still have 30 villagers, but he panicked. And he ran into Anton's line, threw away his entire army to the Sipahi, and now he's continuing to do the same. Anton now in the production of his opponent. I mean, every unit that's made at this point is just going to be killed by these Sipahi if Anton plays this correctly. And then look, there's no other production on the map anywhere for 3D. Anton instead is going to pull out. And you know, this is one of those areas where he wants to heal on these imams, and honestly, it's not a bad call. You do have an opportunity here to just kind of not allow your opponent to recover. What gets dangerous, you know, a quick heal is what I'd be looking for from Anton here, and then he can go back in and camp this production line. You don't want to allow too many units to spawn. They can sit in between the town center, kite you in, you know, around the TC, and make that TC a powerful tool. And this is great. Anton getting ready to move back in. I think now is the time. Let's go look at what he's doing in this main base, because surely he's got other things in the works. And I'm really afraid here for 3D. You know, not necessarily because he's behind. His economy is still about as strong as Anton's, but because of his total seemingly inability to produce military and this giant farm transition that he's in the midst of throwing down. Anton's farms, you know, they're already operating and healthy. I would like to see some eco upgrades out of them. But 3D, on the other hand, you know, these farmers, okay, they're just starting to work when you start seeing that food per minute climb up, but you see it, 130 food a minute to 900 food a minute. He's not making units. He can't afford. He finally is, but he hasn't been making units. He hasn't been able to afford to make units. Where is he gathering wood? I don't know. Maybe somewhere. Seemingly not. He's only got 75 a minute. He's going to be maybe trying to produce food and gold units. We're going to see what knights. He's researching veteran knights right now, and maybe crossbowmen, which are not particularly great versus these Sipahi, as they're not armored. They have 0 armor versus melee. They have 4 armor versus range. And if you look at these crossbows, it's a heavy unit that they have bonus to, which the Sipahi are not. They are light units. So crossbows really not an effective counter to these Sipahi. In fact, if you look at Anton's army right now, nothing in this army is armored. Virtually nothing. So crossbows, not a very cost-effective decision out of 3D here. And if he loses this fight coming up, which is looking very likely, it's largely going to be because of his decision to not gather any wood and make a hefty quantity of spearmen here to complement his knights. There's no archers out of Anton, and so spearmen be an extremely powerful tool to counter this composition. And if we look back at Anton's base, there's also no archery range. So there's really, not only are there no archers, but there's no plans or ability to make any archers. But 3D is not aware of this. He's been too focused on pumping his eco up, and he's about to get jumped in by these Sipahi. They're just going to absolutely delete him if they do get the chance to push in. 1 relic, not going to be enough here. Huge economy, sure, but you got to translate that economy into units, my man. Huge bank here, like 700, 800 in the food and gold department for 3D as Anton comes pushing in. Now, you know, an odd thing here is the 3 meta here for Anton. If those were 3 Sipahi, I think that fight would have gone very differently for him, but they were not. They were 3 meta, and so that fight doesn't quite go as convincingly as we might have guessed, despite the upgrade advantage, despite the army advantage that we see. And if you look down at the bottom left, I do believe we get the value of the entire army. Yeah, Anton's army, I mean, twice the value of his opponent right now. But kind of an odd composition, and also these mangonels just not able to come into play there. Now, will we see some kind of emergency recovery here as 3D swaps over to the guild hall to make wood for him, and he's finally getting his wood online, but so many of these villagers just in the back line not making any sense right now. Sacred Site, take it for Anton. That's going to help boost his gold economy. 54 villagers to 43. The French player has not recovered on villager count. I'm guessing he's missing a lot of cycles here because, yeah, we should have seen this start to recover by now, but 10 traders is pretty healthy for that gold income. We are seeing 440 a minute, roughly the same gold eco out of both players. 800 wood a minute though, 730 food a minute coming out of Anton. He has snuck in, neglected to mention that crosscut saw making a huge difference for him, included with shaft mining and the sacred site, really helping the economy of Anton. Despite being down 10 traders, his 5-10 villager advantage now starting to actually come into play. It does look like Anton's getting ready for what's going to appear to be a death push here. I don't really see a mechanism for 3D to stop this with this meager force. He's got idle villagers because he threw down a blacksmith, but what upgrades are you trying to do here, my friend? I guess you're going for the fitted leather work. Villagers still idle, finally going to realize, you know what, he tends to go over to the mill and he says, no, I'm good actually, I have 3,000 food. And if there's one thing that, you know, you look at the post game here for 3D that he's going to be kicking himself for, the reason that he ultimately threw this game, because he did throw this game, you know, the economy's fairly equal right now, but the military, huge disparity, and that's the 3,000 food you see in the bank right now for our French player 3D. Anton, despite an early game disadvantage, economically able to stabilize off the back of some fantastic Frank Ross, and it's now going in for the death blow, as we call it, as these mangonels just completely unable to be contested with. Now, he doesn't have the ranged armor upgrade. Oh, he did pick up the ranged armor upgrade, actually. And that's going to come in, only one level of it, but that's still going to come in huge against these town center arrows. This is a scary whoa, but Anton's able to pick it off, identifies the threat quickly, fantastic micro, not focused back in his base, able to focus down that monk, and the next one he sees it coming even before it hits. An expected GG here soon out of 3D if he knows how to read this game, because there is not a chance in hell left in this match. Anton showed aggression the entire map. There's no chance of him pulling off here. He's going to step into mangonels. He's going to set the rally onto the TC. And, okay, maybe the rally's on there, but yeah, there's the tap from 3D. and a win for Anton. And a pretty clean game overall. You know, that early game deficit, as we talked, that the game really had a pretty straightforward arc. Maybe a little too much safety out of Anton. Decided to invest some resources into these towers, which weren't totally necessary. But they came in handy when he got countered afterwards, and able to neutralize that early economic advantage out of 3D. So a fantastic game from Anton, and a way to secure an easy win and go for the throat when he saw the chance. Well, thanks for joining me for my first ever Age of Empires cast. I do wish it would be nice if there was a little post game there where I could look at the map, but for some reason they kick you out of the replay right away. So, you know, SOE, maybe. Is SOE even the publisher on this anymore, or the dev? I don't know. Is there an about button here? Can I see? Credits, yeah. Age of Empires 4. Relic. Thanks. Relic, come on, guys. Let me browse the map after a match. You already have that feature built into the game. But thanks for joining me. As I was saying, that was the first ever Aegis cast. I'm going to toss this up online, and yeah, that'll be all. Cheerio, chaps.